Yo, yo, yo. What up, what up, what up? All right, buddy. Good to see ya. Thanks for joining us tonight. How's everybody doing? All two of you. Good to see you guys tonight. Thanks for joining me. All right. Let's see. Looks like Midnight Drift is in the house. Miss Heather, if you all would please share this out. Let everybody know in the Discord I am live. In the sauce, if you could too. I don't have my phone right now, which is usually how I share this out. So please share it out. I will get the rest of the invites out here relatively soon. But welcome to you all. Thank you for being here. I do appreciate you tonight as we go into episode 20, the true story behind the Night Stalker, Mr. Richard Ramirez. I hope you guys had a great rest of your day. Hope everything's going good for you. And I'm glad to see you back with me. Thank you so very much. So what is new and exciting in your guys' world tonight? Anything special? Anything fun? Let me see here. Doesn't look like it there, so one moment. All right. Come on in, everybody. Get comfortable. Grab your popcorn, your coffee, your tea, your Pepsi, whatever it may be. Come on in, sit down. Let's talk about the Night Stalker, you and me. Come on in, everybody. Then we get to choose what next Mondays is going to be all about. Make sure you're hitting that like button for me, guys. Leave a little DNA on the like button. Please, please. And please, please share it out. Mama Bear. Confused. Mama Bear says she's confused. Miss Brandy's in the house. Good to see you. Alrighty, come on in, folks. Let's do this. I get confused too, believe me. Where is everyone? Miss Pookie, Miss Molly. Come on in, folks. Get comfortable. Let's do this. It's an interesting story, to say the very least. And again, guys, thank you for being here throughout this morning or this early afternoon's stream. That was a crazy show, folks. That story. I still don't really know what to say. I don't. That's just craziness. Pure and utter craziness. Those of you that aren't in chat, that just lurking out there watching, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you so very much as well. Come on in, guys. There's a multitude, truthfully, of movies about this Night Stalker per se. Thank you, Heather, so very much. I'll just throw it up. Everybody knows what it means. And there was a Lifetime version of it. They actually did a little skit on it in one of the American Horror Story series. It was the 80s one where they were in summer camp. That version of American Horror Story, they had a whole thing about it there. There's been two other movies that I know of, and they're all based on the Night Stalker name, which is Richard Ramirez was actually the Night Stalker killer. Oh my gosh. Welcome, Miss Molly. Good to see you, dear. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're doing okay. Hope your day was better, or I hope your day was good after this morning. Pink Peony, thanks for joining me. You were in the bushes. you hiding in the bushes? Why are you hiding in the bushes? The bushes. There's a hand in the bush. Thanks for joining us, Pink. I appreciate you so very much. Where's the rest of the fam at? Come on, folks. Let's do this. I know I got more meatballs than that. Come on, guys. Again, you weren't in here this morning, Pink, just so you know. We're going to start doing the movie night, okay? And you're a member, so you don't have to worry about that. But I just wanted to give you a heads up that we are going to start doing that. And then I am going to do the next, I don't know if you were here for it or if you enjoyed it or not, but the next time I do the DJ Dago dance thing that I do with the music is going to be in the evening time. So I'd like for you to be able to join us as I spin some tunes for you guys. And I figured nighttime would be better because everybody is home from work that can't join us. And if you want to throw a little drink in there for you to make it more fun, whatever, you'll be able to do that. So that's how it's going to go next time. Just giving you a heads up on that. Miss Cece, the sweetest lady on the internet, is here. Thank you for joining us. So good to see you. They're coming in slowly but surely. All my meatballs are coming in for the sauce. Forget about it. It's a fugazi. Mama Bear's even here. Thank you for joining us, Mama Bear. I appreciate you, my dear. Uh-oh, who is that? Is that the troublemaker? It is. Mr. Dustin is in the house. What's up, brother? Good to see you, sir. Thank you for joining me tonight. Are you... It's Friday night working. That's right. PW is in the house, everybody. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us tonight, Paranormal. Great to see you. I'm here for the tacos. Well, when you find the tacos, bro, you let me know. Great to have you guys here. Here comes the family. Good to see you all so very much. And I am so happy that you decided to join me tonight. As I was saying, guys, for those of you that are just popping in, we're going to be starting our movie nights here pretty soon. And they're for members only, which, again, everybody in here is a member. So if you're not a member by some chance, it's $2.99 to become a member. But again, like I said, everybody in here is. So that's going to be starting up here relatively soon. And the next time I decide to pull the whole DJ Dago day, it's going to be in the night. So I don't know, a couple of you guys may not have been in here with us, but I like to pick a day once a month and I play music for all you guys. You throw me what you want to hear and we all have a good time together. So it's going to be in the evening this time, whatever you want to call it, the DJ Dago dance party, whatever it is. We're going to do it. Miss Sherry's in the house. Good to see you, Miss Sherry. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being here. It's great to have you all. So that's going to be coming up here again, tune, right, relatively soon, very soon. What's up, Rowdy? Good to see you. PW, PPR, looks like he's telling you to turn on your gifts down in the bottom. Unless you're on a phone, it might not work. One way or another, we'll make you a member. Brandy, don't worry about it. You'll be dealt with, dear. You'll be handled, dear. You're a moderator. You automatically go into the mix, hun. So you're fine. And you've been with me you're automatically a member no matter what. If I got to pay for it, it is what it is, dear. Don't worry about that. You're fine. We'll unpause it, dear. It'll be perfectly fine. You've been with me since the day I started, so you'll be there. It's working with Dago on Friday night. We may have to do it that way. Sounds like a good name. I appreciate that, Pink. Yeah, you know better than that, Brandy. Don't even worry about it. And like I said, moderators are automatically in, so it doesn't matter whether they're members or not. So it is what it is. And I have not chosen the movie yet that we're going to run with, but we'll figure it out. It'll be a good one. I got to make sure that everybody that's going to be there, is not going to be worried about scary movies or what kind of movies, but it will be. Uh, the reason why it's got to be members only is because the members have the link to be able to be in Discord. When you join us on Discord, that's all right, Cece. Don't worry about it, dear. Um, did you drop one PPR already? No, I don't think so. It's I think it's always been random, but if somebody has if they're all they see, I don't like the way that works. If she has her professional, oh, looks like Dustin's membership is now 2 months old. Congratulations, member of the Source. And such a grainy meatball you are, my friend. But we love you. He's a funny little meatball, ain't he? It's all good. Congratulations, my friend. What is that? Is that a bowl with a spoon, Heather? Or is that a plate of spaghetti? Yeah, it's a plate of spaghetti. That's cool. But you guys are all sorts of talented. We'll get it worked out, folks. We will get you worked out one way or another. So yeah, that's what's gonna happen. Uh-oh. All right, you gifted. It was gifted to T 2014. I don't even think T's in here tonight. That's all right. I don't know if you know how. Do you know how to open up your gifts on? Are you first of all, PW? Are you on a computer or a phone? What's up, Strike? Good to see you, brother. Yeah, PPR is a seasoned meatball. He's seasoned with all that cayenne hot pepper, is what it is. He's spicy. He's a spicy meatball. I still don't believe that stuck as well as it did. The whole meatball thing. It's just, hey, it is what it is. I'm on my phone listening. We're okay. That's probably why. Then, if you're on your phone, you're not able to do it that way. We'll get it worked out for you, PW. Don't worry. It's so great to have you here, though. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, dear. I appreciate it. I really do. Did you guys hear the music on the way in the door? Again. I love being able to play that. That was fun to play, by the way. Who heard it or who didn't hear it? I would like to know. Inquiring minds want to know. Rowdy's in the house. Now that's a spice meatball. That's right. Okay. The Night Stalker actually met the satanic leader Anton LaVey in the 90s, and he didn't like him at all. Met him. Yes, I know. I know. Isn't that interesting? You would think. He thought that the stalker was creepy. That's a fact. PW's got some info, folks. Some good info. Yes, Richard Ramirez met Anton LaVey and Anton did not like him at all. Said he was a creeper, and he was right because look what he did. Rowdy's in the house. Rowdy got your name back. That's good. That's a good thing. Oh, my neck's still hurting me. Let us be. We love being meatballs. Proud to be meatballs. That's good. I'm glad. I'm proud to have all of you meatballs here to float around in the sauce with me. I still don't know where that came from in style. Stuck. Yes, he was right. The way he practiced wasn't the way he practiced at all. He never approved him at all. That is facts too. And a lot of people thought there was a story that was out, which it ain't going to hurt while we're waiting for a couple more people. The way it worked out was Richard Ramirez claimed that LaVey was his, I can't think of the word right now, but that he's bowed down to him or whatever you want to call it. There's word for it, guys. It's missing me right now. But anyway, and LaVey did not claim him. He was not part of that society. Mentor, thank you, PW. Anyway, he was not part of that society. So he tried to claim that, like I said, LaVey was his mentor. He wanted to be just like him. He was doing this, he was doing that. He was not doing anything like what LaVey wanted him to do. So, all right, so Lance got another membership. Thank you, Mama Bear. That was so very nice of you, my dear. They're trying to get everybody memberships for movie night, but you guys are awesome. I love you guys so very much. That's right. That was it right there, was that LaVey's practice. And it's in the book and everything he said, none of that he approved of. It wasn't, there was nothing about killing people. So it was just a different way than what typical Christian religion was. And there was nothing about killing people or anything like that in what he says. So that's why he would not claim Ramirez, because it was not at all what he believed in. So thank you for bringing that up, PW. That's good to inform people of. Congratulations, Lance. Are you even in here? Probably not, but you may be. You'll find out when you are. And then again, guys, if you're not a member, just so you know, welcome, Nikki, by the way. Thanks for joining us, hon. If you're not a member and you're on a laptop or a computer, PC, any form of that like that, go down to the bottom, click on the little $sign, and it should give you the option to open up your gifts. That's the case. Whenever somebody does decide to gift memberships, you'll be able to receive them. Okay. Just a little heads up for you guys that aren't. Welcome, everybody. I'm glad. Thanks for joining us, Nikki. I appreciate you so much. Strike First, Paranormal, Miss Heather, Midnight Drifter, Rowdy, all of you, thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate you guys so much. We're almost up to a beautiful 20 people. And again, folks, we are going over the true story behind the Night Stalker. Let me see here if I can. I'll show you guys a little tidbit of a trailer from the one movie I saw recently. Pretty good one, actually. It's, of course, Lifetime movies are Lifetime movies. All it gives me is super. Okay, Brandy. Are you on your phone or on a computer, hon? That's another fun fact, PW. Paranormal says that Ramirez had 19 robberies. Another fun fact. I know a lot about him. I was kind of mesmerized by him at one point, as I was with a lot of these guys. That's how I know so much about him. iPad. That should have worked. 11 SAs. Yes, this man was a demented, evil person, folks. Just so you know ahead of time. Very much so. All right, I'm going to give you guys a quick glimpse on a Night Stalker movie to know what we're looking at for those of you that may not know. One moment here. He was actually married to his fan at one point. That's a fact, too. Thank you, Miss Heather. Again, anybody that is feeling generous this evening that would like to support me or the channel, anything is appreciated. There are bills to be paid to keep me out here, folks, and they are coming due. There are the links for Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App, and anything is so very much appreciated at this point, everyone. So thank you so very much. I'm nearly done restoring my mic and stand. I'm super awesome. That's awesome. Good deal, Miss Nikki. Guys, give me a moment. All right. This is a trailer for, it's called The Night Stalker. Yeah, Night Stalker. Take your time, Heather. This was the LMN or Lifetime Movie Network movie that came out I saw this one recently, and it's not too bad. Lou Diamond Phillips actually played Ramirez, which is did a pretty good job in my opinion. Lou Diamond Phillips is the guy that played Richie Valens in the movie La Bamba from the 80s. Not as bad as Mr. Innocent today. Oh, yeah, I don't want to even go back to talking about that guy. That was a mess. And thank you all for joining me for that show this morning. I appreciate that. What are we talking about? Mama Bear, that was an exquisite presentation. Where are you talking about? Oh, that. Okay. Yes, it very much is. Mama Bear is very good at doing that stuff. And I love her for doing it. She knows it. And she's going to show me how to do it because she says it's not hard. So we're going to see what we got, guys. I didn't do it again. I always mess up this every time, folks. Okay, hold on a minute, guys. I'm going to show this, share this, and let you guys see the little trailer, as I always do on this one, the Night Stalker movie from Lifetime Movies. Yes, Miss Nikki, I know. They're filtered again, but who knows? You know how it goes. All right, Miss Brandy, no problem. Take your time. All right, everybody, and we're off. Let me know how the audio is, as always.
Do you know what I do to you, Ocelot Falls? You have no idea. What do you do with your hate and anger?
Dude.
That was a pretty crappy trailer for a movie. Probably not, Bear. Yeah, definitely, PW. I agree with you on that one. Most definitely.
Do you know what I do?
Welcome back. You're freezing. What's going on with that, Drifter? I'm sweating. It's hot over here. Oh, yikes. As I told my friend who have a pet famous podcast, one carnival per week, babes. Can't believe I had to say that twice now. Ah, gotcha. Gotcha. There is a series, by the way, guys, running on Netflix. Also, I forgot to tell you. It's called The Hunt. Here, I'll show you. It's The Hunt for a Serial Killer. It's in regards to the Night Stalker. So let me show you that one real quick, since the other one wasn't very long. One moment. This one's a little longer and a little bit better too, just so you know. Again, just to give you guys a bit of an idea what we're looking at for those of you that may not know. And there you go. Check that one out, everybody. It looks pretty good. Welcome, Miss Pamela. Pamela. Good to see you. Good to have you here. Uh-huh. 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 All right. How are you feeling tonight, Pamela? Are you feeling better? That is a good question. I meant to ask you that earlier today, and I didn't get the chance to. It's good to see you guys. 21 beautiful people in here. All right. Well, looks like we got who we got. Yeah, the steroids have you got to do it. The stuff is the same way over there as it is over here. I had to do it. All right, let me see here.
Due to this,
All right, this info was through a place called Seeker's Crime. It's a whole series of it I have to put together. I hope it works for you guys, and I hope everybody enjoys it. They're not that bad, Mama Bear. They don't. They don't. The pills taste horrible if you take them, but they're not bad. They can cause other problems that you may not like, but so. All right, everybody. Let's see what we can get to rolling with. Again, thank you all for joining me tonight. I do appreciate you all so very much. Okay. Make sure this is all set up the right way. Miss Sherry. Red, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. All right. Thanks for joining us, bro. It's good to have you here. All right, everyone.
this case's graphic nature. This episode includes dramatic.
Oh, yeah. I want to do that too. Just to be sure, there may be some sensitive topics in here. For those of you that may get triggered, feel free to step away if you are uncomfortable. Without issue, you will not be judged by anybody. You guys know that. No worries, no qualms. Do what you need to do, folks, but there may be some sensitive issues here. Lurking while doing is all. Miss Michelle Wilkinson, hello, my dear. Good to see you. And happy birthday, my dear. Pookie is Pookie in here? Pookie's not in here. Where is Pookie? Somebody better go find her. Let her know. Happy birthday, Miss Michelle. It's so great to see you tonight, my dear. Thank you for joining us. Well, I feel honored that you would want to spend your birthday with us. Yeah, I figured you would do it anyway, Mama Bear. I figured. I know you better than I thought I did. No, Pookie's not here yet, but she should be here soon, I hope. Anywho, let's get to rolling, everyone. Again, let me know how the audio is. If you have any issues, qualms, problems, let me know. Miss Kiki, oh my goodness. It's good to see you as well. We missed you. We missed you for a while, too. I'm not sorry, but twice a week, therapy, cutting the grass, cleaning house, cooking keeps me busy. You're just fine, my dear. Don't worry about that. You guys know better. That's why she says I'm not sorry, because she knows she's not supposed to say she's sorry. It's okay, though. Oh, what was it? What was it, Pamela? If you have it, I'd like to know. I've been waiting on that one. Is Willow here? Did I just see Willow? Seriously? That seems odd, but okay. Did they say what the MOD was? By chance? Rachel Jackson, Nikki. That's from what her family had said, this and that, but you don't never know. You know what I mean? Some people could be dealing with demons that they don't even know. She's talking about Rachel Jackson, Nikki, over in the UK. So great to see you, Kiki. I hope your husband's doing well. Okay. Yeah, when they come up with the manor, I'd like to know that too, because that's just off to me a little bit based on what her family had said. And she just seems so very happy and all that. But again, like I said, we never know, folks. We'll find out, I'm sure. It's amazing. It's amazing. That kind of makes me mad, I'll be honest. And you probably know where I'm going, Pamela. It makes me mad. Pookie? What do you mean, Pookie? Nikki, what are you talking about, hon? We're talking about Rachel Jackson. It's a case that we were working over in the UK. No. I'm angry because we got Rachel Jackson's COD before we got Nicola Bully's. Something's wrong with that, and you guys know that as well as I do. By the way, Miss April, welcome. It's okay, hon. Don't worry about it. Good to see you. By the way, you guys do know that they've been back out at the Weir, the river there, about the fact they're now they're looking for something. See, I thought something altogether different, and I still think it could be part of it too, but they're looking for something in particular. And in regards to Nicola Bully's case, her bike was found in the open air and her body found in the bushes, sadly. Right. I just don't understand. I want to know what the manner of death was as far as how that happened then. You know what I mean? So we'll see. All right, guys, let's get this going here. Again, let me know how the audio is, if there's any issues.
Accusations and discussions of murder and assault. Caution
worries,
for children
Kiki.
under 30.
Sorry, guys. I don't know why. Let me know if this is better.
On the 27th of the same month, Ramirez shot Vincent Zazzara, 64,
and his wife Maxine, age 44. Mrs. Zazzara's body was mutilated with several stab wounds and a T carving on her left breast, and her eyes were gouged out. The autopsy determined that the mutilations were
All right. Can you guys hear it better? I'm sorry. I don't know why that did that. Let's go back up a little bit here and see what happens. Yes, no, maybe so.
American serial killer awaiting execution on California's death row at San Quentin
State Prison. Before his capture, Ramirez was dubbed the Night Stalker
by the news
Good deal.
media as
Sorry,
he
guys.
terrorized California. Ramirez may have been influenced into becoming a murderer by his cousin Mike, a Special Forces Vietnam War torturing his Vietnamese enemies, and showed him pictures. Ramirez was present the night Mike shot and killed his wife, and her blood splattered on Ramirez's face. On March 17, 1985, Ramirez attacked 22-year-old Maria Hernandez outside her home. He shot her before entering her house. Inside was Dale Okazaki, age 34, whom Ramirez immediately shot and killed. Hernandez survived. The bullet had ricocheted off the keys she held in her hand as she lifted them to protect herself. Within an hour of killing Okazaki, Ramirez struck again in Monterey Park. He jumped 30-year-old Tsai Lian Yu and pulled her out of her car onto the road. He shot her several times and fled. A policeman found her still breathing, but she died before the ambulance arrived. The two attacks coinciding bolstered media attention and caused panic and fear among the public. The news media dubbed the attacker, described as having long curly hair, bulging eyes, and wide-spaced rotting teeth, the walk-in killer, and the Valley Intruder. On the 27th of the same month, Ramirez shot Vincent Zazara, 64, and his wife Maxine, age 44. Mrs. Zazara's body was mutilated with several stab wounds and a T-carving on her left breast, and her eyes were gouged out. The autopsy determined that the mutilations were post-mortem. Ramirez left footprints in the flower beds, which the police photographed and cast. This was virtually the only evidence that the police had at the time. Bullets found at the scene were matched to those found at previous attacks, and the law realized a serial killer was on the loose. Vincent and Maxine's bodies were discovered in their Whittier home by their son, Peter. By this time, a multi-county police investigation was in operation. The law enforcement agencies worked through April with no additional attacks by Ramirez. 2 months after killing the Zazara couple, Ramirez attacked a Chinese couple, Harold Wu, age 66, who was shot in the head. His wife, Jean Wu, age 63, was punched, bound, and then violently raped. For unknown reasons, Ramirez decided to let her live. Ramirez's attacks were now in full throttle. He left behind more clues to his identity and was named the Night Stalker by the media. Survivors of his attacks provided the police with a description of a tall Hispanic and long dark-haired man. On May 29, 1985, Ramirez attacked Malvio Keller, 83, and her disabled sister, Blanche Wolfe, 80, beating each with a hammer. Ramirez attempted to rape Keller but failed. Using lipstick, he drew pentagrams on Keller's thigh and the wall in the bedroom. Blanche survived the attack. The next day, Ruth Wilson, 41, was bound, raped, and sodomized by Ramirez, while her 12-year-old son was locked in a closet. Ramirez slashed Wilson once and then tied her and her son together and left. Add to the record, in June and July, 3 more women were killed. 2 had their throats slit, 1 was beaten to death, and all 3 had their homes invaded in the process. On July 5, Whitney Bennett, age 16, survived being hit with a tire iron. On July 7, Linda Fortuna, 63, was attacked, and Ramirez tried to rape her but failed. On July 20th, he again the third Atasawa.
That's one of the big things with this guy, too, you guys. I wanted you to know. Most serial killers have an MO of what they go after, who they're looking for, their type per se. He didn't care. It didn't matter to him. Whatever mood he was in that day is whatever he did. You can look at this guy. I've always thought, every picture I've ever seen of him, look at his eyes. This man looks like he has pure evil coursing through his veins. There's something about him that just something about him. Yeah, he definitely was, Drift. That's no lie, bro. So Again, guys, there was no MO with this guy. It was whatever he felt that day. And I think he even made a comment about that. Because somebody had asked him in an interview one time, like, how do you choose your victims, Richard? And he said, depends on the mood. That's what he said. I wish I could find the interview too. And I was just like, it depends on the mood. Like, typically serial killers have a reasoning behind what they do. I don't think he did. I think he just did it just to do it. It's kind of sad. So, again, sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to bring that point up.
Valuables and proceeded to leave. Later in the same day, a Glendale couple, Maxon Needing, 66, and his wife Leela, also 66, were shot and their corpses mutilated. On August 6, Ramirez shot both Christopher Peterson, 38, and his wife, Virginia, 27, in the head. Miraculously, they both survived. On August 8, Ramirez attacked a Diamond Bar couple, fatally shooting Ahmed Zia, 35, before raping and forcing Zia's wife to perform fellatio on him. The description of their attacker fit the previous ones given for the walk-in killer. Ramirez then left the Los Angeles area, and on August 17, he shot to death a 66-year-old man in San Francisco, also shooting and beating his wife. The wife survived her wounds and was able to identify her attacker as the walk-in killer from police sketches. Since the walk-in killer no longer fit the attacker's modus operandi, the news media redubbed him the Night Stalker.
I
The next
agree.
big break in the case came on August 24,
Yes,
1985.
welcome, by the way.
Ramirez traveled 50 miles south of Los Angeles to Mission Viejo and broke into the Mediterranean Village apartment of Bill Carnes. Ramirez shot Carnes in the head and raped Erickson. He demanded she swears her love for Satan and afterward forced her to perform oral intercourse with him. He then tied her and left. Erickson struggled to the window and saw the car Ramirez was driving. She was able to describe both Ramirez and his orange Toyota station wagon. A teenager later identified the car from news reports.
Drift. Just whatever. Seriously, bro. For real. Welcome, by the way, Pend, if I said that right. Yeah, it's good to have you here, and I agree with you on that. You can pretty much tell by looking at somebody's facial expressions. Looking in people's eyes, I've been able to judge people for years. How they walk. Look at the Nazi beside him. Drift, you're a mess, bro. That's all I gotta say. You're a mess.
And wrote down half its license plate number.
He thought he was sexy.
The stolen car was found in
described
August.
as a 25-year-old drifter from Texas with a long rap sheet that included many arrests for traffic and illegal drug violations. 2 days later, his mugshots were broadcast on national television and printed on every major newspaper in California. The next day Ramirez was identified, surrounded, and
Not that I know
beaten
of.
by an angry mob in East Los Angeles as he was trying to steal a car. Police had to break up the crowd to prevent them from killing Ramirez. Jury selection for the case started on July 22, 1988. On September 20, 1989, he was found guilty of 13 counts of murder, 5 attempted murders, 11 sexual assaults, and 14 burglaries. During the trial's penalty phase on November 7, 1989, he was sentenced to die in California's gas chamber. The preparation of Richard Ramirez was one of the most challenging and most protracted criminal trials in American history. Nearly 1,600 prospective jurors were interviewed. More than 100 witnesses testified, and while several witnesses had a difficult time recalling specific facts 4 years after the crimes, others were quite certain of the identity of Richard Ramirez. On August 3, 1988, the Los Angeles Times reported that some jail employees overheard Ramirez planning to shoot the prosecutor with a gun, which Ramirez intended to have smuggled into the courtroom. Consequently, a metal detector was installed outside of the courtroom, and intensive searches were conducted on people entering. On August 14, the trial was interrupted because one of the jurors, Phyllis Singletary, did not arrive at the courtroom. Later that day, she was found shot to death in her apartment. The jury was terrified. They could not help but wonder if Ramirez had somehow directed this event from inside his prison cell and if he could reach other jury members. However, Ramirez was not responsible for.
Just to give you another heads up on something with what Drift is saying, that he had a lot of admirers. He really did. Richard Ramirez had a following almost a cult following along the lines of Charles Manson. A whole lot. Okay, and I still have that right there that they were explaining about the juror being found shot to death. I still have my doubts as to whether or not that somebody that had a liking for him or a love for him at some point, one of his admirers, had something to do with it. I really, really have a lot of thought about that one being a fact. I really do. He literally had a cult following almost as strong as Charles Manson, guys, if not stronger in some senses. And I do, Nikki. I really feel strongly that he very well may have had a lot to do with that situation, even if he didn't have any contact with that person. These people bowed to him, and going back to what was talked about in the beginning that PW had brought up about the Anton LaVey situation, so on and so forth. Ramirez claimed Anton LaVey as his mentor, that he'll claimed Satan as his God, blah, 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 so on and so forth. And the people that followed him, the way that he did what he did in his form of it was nothing like what Anton LaVey wanted for his followers, okay? Ramirez had his own way of doing it, and his followers fell into that bracket with him as he was doing it. So in turn, that made his followers very dangerous, folks. Mikey's in the house. What's up, brother? And yes, there were like women like were in awe of this man as if he was a rock star, folks. He was a homicidal maniac, okay? he was a psycho. He was a serial killer, and women like fell all over this guy as if he was a rock star. It was disgusting, and it shows the mentality that people can have sometimes. It's really sad and very scary. You're okay, Nikki. You're absolutely fine. So yes, and again, thank you, Heather, for that. Anybody that is not a member that would like to become a member, that way you can join us for movie nights. It's only $2.99, folks. Check it out. Anyway, back to the video. My fault, everyone.
For Singletary's death, she had been shot and killed by her boyfriend,
who later killed himself with the same weapon in a hotel. The alternative juror who replaced Singletary was too frightened to return to her home. By the time of the trial, Ramirez had fans writing him letters and paying him visits. Since 1985, freelance magazine editor Doreen Leoy wrote him nearly 75 letters during his incarceration.
Good to see you, and thank
In
you for the info.
1988, he proposed to her, and on October 3, 1996,
they were married in California's San Quentin State Prison.
Good to see you,
Leoy
Mikey.
has stated
That she will commit suicide when Ramirez is executed. The first appeal was on August 7, 2006. His first round of state appeals ended unsuccessfully when the California Supreme Court upheld his convictions and death sentence. On September 7, 2006, the California Supreme Court denied his request for a rehearing. Richard Ramirez's victims on June 28, 1984. Jenny Vincow, 79 Glassell Park. Her throat was slashed. March 17, 1985. Dale Okazaki, 34, and Maria Hernandez, 20, Rosemead. Dale was shot to death. March 17, 1985. Veronica Yu, 30 Monterey Park. Drugged from her car and shot. March 27, 1985. Vincent Zazzara, 64, and his wife Messine, 44, Whittier. May 14, 1985. Bill Doy, 66, Monterey Park. Shot to death. May 30, 1985. Carol Kyle, 41, Burbank. Rape, sodomy, oral copulation, burglary. June 1, 1985. Mabel Bell, 83, and Florence Lang, 80, Monrovia. Keller was bludgeoned to death, and satanic symbols were scrawled in various places. July 2, 1985. Mary Louise Cannon, 75, Arcadia. Beaten and throat slashed. July 5, 1985. Whitney Bennett, 16, Sierra Madre. July 7, 1985. Joyce Lucille Nelson, 61, Monterey Park. July 7, 1985. Sophie Dickman, 63, Monterey Park. Sex charges. July 20, 1985. Max, 68, and Leela Needing, 66, Glendale. Both were shot to death. July 20, 1985. Chainarong Kovanunt, 32, Sun Valley. Shot to death. His son and wife were both sodomized. August 8, 1985. Elias Abawa, 35, Diamond Bar. Shot while sleeping. Richard Ramirez, the demonic serial killer, known as the Night Stalker who left satanic signs at murder scenes and mutilated victims' bodies during a reign of terror in the 1980s, died early Friday in a hospital. Ramirez, 53, had been taken from San Quentin's death row to a hospital where authorities said he died of liver failure. Prison officials said they could not release further details on the cause of death, citing federal patient privacy laws. Ramirez had been housed on death row for decades and was awaiting execution, even though it has been years since anyone has been put to death in California. At his first court appearance, Ramirez raised a hand with a pentagram drawn on it and yelled, "Hail, Satan." His marathon trial, which ended in 1989, was a horror show where jurors heard about one dead victim's eyes being gouged out, and another's head being nearly severed. Courtroom observers wept when survivors of some of the attacks testified. Ramirez was convicted of 13 murders that terrorized Southern California in 1984 and 1985 and charges of rape, sodomy, oral copulation, burglary, and attempted murder. The killing spree reached its peak in the hot summer of 1985, as the nocturnal killer entered homes through unlocked windows and doors and killed men and women with gunshot blasts to the head or knives to the throat, sexually assaulted female victims, and burglarized the residences. He was dubbed the Night Stalker by the press while residents were warned to lock their doors and windows at night. Some crimes were grisly beyond imagining. A man was murdered in his bed, and his wife was raped beside the dead body. The killer beat a small child and attempted to sodomize him. This is pure craziness. There were also signs of devil worship. A pentagram drawn on the wall at one murder scene and survivors' accounts of being ordered to swear to Satan by the killer. Ramirez was finally chased down and beaten in 1985 by residents of a blue-collar East Los Angeles neighborhood as he attempted a carjacking. They recognized him after his picture appeared that day in the news media. Ramirez's trial took a year, but the entire case, bogged down in pretrial motions and appeals, lasted 4 years, making it one of the most extended criminal cases in U.S. history. Because of the notoriety, more than 1,600 prospective jurors were called. The trial was almost aborted in its final stages when a woman juror was murdered during deliberations. Jurors were 13 days into talks when the juror failed to appear one morning. She was found beaten and shot to death at home she shared with her boyfriend. The next day, the man committed suicide and left a note saying he killed her in an argument. Jurors wept when they learned of the tragedy. Los Angeles Superior Court Judge Michael Tynan was faced with one of his most trying legal challenges. Lawyers said there were no legal precedents for the situation. Defense attorneys argued the jurors were too distraught to resume their talks and noted the murder was similar to the gruesome attacks attributed to the Night Stalker. Tynan decided,
which is why I still think that it had something to do with him. Whether that man admitted leaving a note that that's what it was, I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. I really do think that it had something to do with Ramirez, with that juror. I really do, guys.
To move forward.
"We must get on with the task life has given us," he told jurors, ordering them to begin deliberations with an alternate juror. Jurors later said the death of the juror did not influence their decision. Tynan said Friday, "The Richard Ramirez case was the most difficult trial I ever handled. It was an experience I will never forget. And I'm glad to choosing my word, evil." On his way to a jail bus, he sneered in reaction to the verdict, muttering, "Big deal. Death always went with the territory. See you in Disneyland." The black-clad killer, unrepentant to the end, made his comment in an underground garage after the jury recommended the death penalty for his gruesome crimes. Inexplicably, Ramirez, a native of El Paso, Texas, followed young women admirers who came to the courtroom regularly and sent him love notes. Some visited him in prison, and in 1996 Ramirez was married to 41-year-old freelance magazine editor Doreen Leoy in a visiting room at San Quentin prison. Relatives called Leoy a hermit who lived in a fantasy world. Her whereabouts could not be determined on Friday. She was not listed as Ramirez's next of kin, prison spokesman Samuel Robinson said in an email. His blood relatives are listed as the next of kin, Robinson said. In 2006, the California Supreme Court upheld Ramirez's convictions and death sentence. The U.S. Supreme Court refused in 2007 to review the convictions and sentence. Ramirez still had appeals pending when he died. His lawyers claimed the case should have been moved out of Los Angeles and said Ramirez was incompetent to stand trial. 2 years after his arrest, San Francisco police said DNA linked Ramirez to April 10, 1984, killing 9-year-old Mei Leung. She was killed in a residential hotel basement in San Francisco's Tenderloin neighborhood, where she lived with her family. Ramirez had been staying at nearby hotels. Ramirez previously was tied to killings in Northern California. He was charged in the shooting deaths of Peter Pan, 66, and his wife, Barbara, in 1985 just before his arrest in Los Angeles, but he was never tried in that case. Richard Ramirez, big deal. Death comes with the territory. See you in Disneyland. Richard Ramirez's reaction to receiving 19 death sentences. Ricky attempts to sound tough. You maggots make me sick, and I will be avenged. Lucifer dwells within us call. Richard Ramirez's career started in June 1984 when he broke into a house and raped then killed a 79-year-old woman, Jenny Vincow, in a suburb of LA in February of 1985. He abducted 2 girls in separate incidents. The first was a 6-year-old girl, taken from a bus stop near her school in a laundry bag, then molested and dumped at a nearby location. 2 weeks later, Richard took another girl, a 9-year-old, from her bedroom and raped her, then tossed her nearby. On March 17, Ramirez was described as the survivor of the first Valley Intruder attack. Dale Okazaki was murdered, and her roommate, Maria Hernandez, was severely injured. While leaving the scene of this first killing, Ramirez dragged TSA Lian Yu from her car and shot her several times. Lian Yu was pronounced dead the next day. Ramirez seemed so impressed with these attacks that he abducted another young girl 2 days later, raping her repeatedly before allowing her to leave, in what would seem like a celebration of the earlier attacks. March 27. The Zazara murders. Ramirez beat 64-year-old Vincent Zazara to death, then stabs his wife, Maxine, 44, to death. Ramirez proceeded to carve out her eyes and take them with him. The bodies were found 2 days later by their son. On May 14, Ramirez broke into another house and killed the owner, William Doy, with a bullet to the head. Doy was able to make it to a phone first, though, not allowing enough time for Ramirez to get his wife. Just 2 weeks later, on May 29, Ramirez had some fun with an 84-year-old, Mabel Bell, and 81-year-old Florence Lang, an invalid. Ramirez violently beat them and then scratched satanic symbols over them and their house. The two were not found until June 2. Bell died on July 15, but Lang survived the attack. On June 27, Patty Higgins had her throat cut, dying in another Stalker attack in her own home. And on July 2, Mary Cannon, 77, was killed in a similar style. Cannon lived less than 2 miles from Higgins. July 7, Joyce Nelson, 61, was beaten to death at her home. On July 20, Ramirez decided to do a double. First off, he killed Chainarong Kobanath, 32, then beat and raped his wife. Not content with that, he took their 8-year-old son into the next room with a bottle of baby oil. Mrs. Kobanath was forced to listen as Ramirez raped him. Then he stole about $30,000 in cash and jewelry. Ramirez then drove to a neighboring suburb and murdered Max Niding, 69, and his wife, Leela, 66. The couple didn't even have time to get out of their bed. On August 6, Ramirez screwed up and left both his victims wounded. Christopher Peterson, 38, and his wife, Virginia, 27, described their attacker, which matched that of all other survivors. August 8, Ramirez strikes again. He kills Elias Abawath, 35, shooting him then brutally beating his wife. After this attack, police announced that they are after a serial killer, linking 6 of the murders. The press dubbed Ramirez as the Night Stalker. On August 17, Ramirez struck in San Francisco, his first attack outside LA, killing the amusingly named Peter Pan, 66, and badly beating and then shooting his wife. She survived her wounds and identified the Stalker from police sketches taken from the earlier survivors. August 24, Ramirez wounds Bill Carnes, 29, with 3 bullets to the head. He then raped Carnes' fiancée, Inez Erickson, twice. As Ramirez drove away, Erickson seen his car. It was an orange Toyota station wagon. A local teenager also noticed the vehicle and its driver. He took down the number plate and gave it to the police. The end was near. On August 30th, police found the car abandoned. From it, they lifted a single fingerprint. Ramirez was identified. They issued an APB for Ramirez, and his mugshots were shown on national TV. The next day, Ramirez's picture was on the cover of every major newspaper in the state and on every TV news bulletin. Ramirez had no idea of this until he walked into a liquor store and seen himself staring at him from that day's newspaper. Ramirez panicked as other customers realized that it was him. He ran 2 miles in the next 12 minutes, then decided to steal a car. Unfortunately for Ramirez, he was in a particularly tough neighborhood and was rescued by the police as he was being beaten badly by the local thugs. The Night Stalker was caught. Bill Carnes and Inez Erickson never married. As said to Inez Erickson before the first rape, "You know who I am, don't you? I'm the one they're writing about in the newspapers and on TV." Ramirez made Inez Erickson say this to him as he was raping her for the second time. "I love Satan." Bragging in jail, "I've killed 20 people, man. I love all that blood. I told Deputy Sheriff Jim Ellis, I love to kill people. I love watching them die. I would shoot them in the head, and they would wiggle and squirm all over the place and then stop. Or I would cut them with a knife and watch their faces turn absolute white. I love all that blood. I told one lady to give me all her money. She said no. So I cut her and pulled her eyes out. It's nothing you'd understand, but I do have something to say. I have a lot to say, but now is not the time or place. I don't know why I'm wasting my time or breath. But what the hell? As for what is said of my life, there have been lies in the past, and there will be lies in the future. I don't believe in the hypocritical, moralistic dogma of this so-called civilized society. I need not look beyond this room to see all the liars, hater, the killers, the crooks, the paranoid cowards, truly trematodes of the earth, each in his legal profession. You maggots make me sick, hypocrites one and all. And no one knows that better than those who kill for policy, clandestinely or openly, as do the governments of the world, which kill in the name of God and country or for whatever reason they deem appropriate. I don't need to hear all of society's rationalizations. I've heard them all before, and the fact remains that what is. Los Angeles is the serial murder capital of the world. It takes a unique twist to capture headlines in a city where, by autumn 1983, 5 random slayers were at large and killing independently of one another. In the summer months of 1985, reporters found their twist. They filled front pages with accounts of the sinister Night Stalker, a sadistic home invader with a preference for unlocked windows and a taste for savage mutilation. As the story broke, the stalker had 3 weeks of freedom left, but he was bent on making every moment count, and he would claim a minimum of 16 lives before the bitter end. Unrecognized, the terror had begun a full year earlier with the murder of a 79-year-old woman at her home in suburban Glassell Park in June 1984. Police lifted fingerprints from a window screen at the site, but without a suspect for comparison, the clue led them nowhere. By February 1985, police had 2 more murders on their hands, but they kept details to themselves. They saw no link, at first, with the abduction of a 6-year-old Montebello girl, snatched from a bus stop near her school and carried away in a laundry bag, sexually abused before she was dropped off in Silver Lake on February 25. 2 weeks later, on March 1, a 9-year-old girl was kidnapped from her bedroom in Monterey Park, raped by her abductor, and dumped in Elysian Park. The Night Stalker reverted from child molestation to murder on March 17, shooting 34-year-old Dale Okazaki to death in her Rosemead condominium and wounding roommate Maria Hernandez before he fled. Hernandez provided police with their first description of a long-faced intruder, notable for his curly hair, bulging eyes, and wide-spaced, rotting teeth. Another victim on March 17 was 30-year-old TSA Lian Yu, ambushed near her home in Monterey Park, dragged from her car, and shot several times by the attacker. She died the following day, and her killer celebrated his new score by
What's up, Dream Big? Thanks for joining us tonight.
On the night of March 20th, sexually abusing her before he let her go. The action moved to Whittier on March 27, with 64-year-old Vincent Zazzara beaten to death in his home. Zazara's wife, 44-year-old Maxine, was fatally stabbed in the same attack, her eyes carved out and carried from the scene by her assailant. The Zazara had been dead 2 days before their bodies were discovered on March 29, and homicide detectives launched a futile search for clues. On May 14, 65-year-old William Dew was shot in the head by a man who invaded his home in Monterey Park. Dying, Dew staggered to the telephone and dialed an emergency number before he collapsed, thus saving his wife from a lethal assault by the stalker. 2 weeks later, on May 29, 84-year-old Mabel Bell and her invalid sister, 81-year-old Florence Lang, were savagely beaten in their Monrovia home. The attacker paused to ink satanic pentagrams on Bell's body, drawing more on the walls before departing. Found by a gardener on June 2, Lang survived her injuries, but Mabel Bell died on July 15. In the meantime, the night stalker seemed intent on running up his score. On June 27, 32-year-old Patty Higgins was killed in her home at Arcadia, her throat slashed, and 77-year-old Mary Cannon was slain in an identical style less than 2 miles away on July 2. 5 days later, 61-year-old Joyce Nelson was beaten to death at her home in Monterey Park. The killer struck twice on July 20, first invading a Sun Valley home where he killed 32-year-old Chainarong Kobanath, beat and raped the dead man's wife, and battered their 8-year-old son before escaping with $30,000 worth of cash and jewelry. A short time later, 69-year-old Max Nijung and his wife.
Welcome, Vale. So good to see you here
were shot
tonight.
to
Thanks
death
for
in their
joining
Glendale
us.
home.
Good to have you here.
Police were still maintaining silence on the subject of their latest maniac at large. Even they began to feel the heat on August 6 after 38-year-old Christopher Peterson and his wife Virginia, age 27, were wounded by gunshots in their Northridge home. Descriptions matched the stalker, and he struck again on August 8, shooting 35-year-old Elias Abawath dead in his Diamond Bar home and brutally beating the victim's wife. That night, authorities announced their manhunt for a killer linked to a half-dozen recent homicides. This toll nearly
Probably
tripled in
because
the
of
next
the
3 weeks
time.
with fresh assaults and a new evaluation
Derek,
of
I'm going to
exceptional
venture
cases.
to say
On August
California
17,
was
the night stalker deserted his usual hunting ground,
the place.
gunning down 66-year-old Peter Pan at his home in San Francisco. Pan's wife was shot and beaten, but she managed to survive her wounds, identifying suspect sketches of the homicide's prowler. By August 22, police had credited the night stalker with a total of 14 murders in California. 3 weeks later, in Mission Viejo, he wounded 29-year-old Bill Carnes with a shot to the head, then raped Carnes's fiancée before escaping in a stolen car. The vehicle was recovered on August 28, complete with a Chicar set of fingerprints belonging to Richard Ramirez, a 25-year-old drifter from Texas whose Los Angeles rap sheet included numerous arrests for traffic and drug violations. Acquaintances described Ramirez.
Thank you,
as
Miss
a
Heather.
violent
Again,
sadist
anybody
and
that would
longtime
be
drug abuser,
feeling
obsessed with the mock satanic
generous
rock
this
band
evening and would like to
ACIDC.
support the channel,
According to reports,
anything is
Ramirez had
appreciated.
adopted one of the group's songs,
Again, guys, there's the
Night
links
Prowler,
for Venmo,
as his
PayPal,
anthem,
and or the
playing
Cash
T
App
repeatedly,
if you should
sometimes
choose to do
for
that.
hours
And
on
I do
end.
thank you
An
so very much
all-points
ahead of
bulletin
time.
was issued for Ramirez on August 30. His mug shots were broadcast on TV, and he was captured by civilians in East Los Angeles the following day, mobbed and beaten as he tried to steal a car. Police arrived in time to save his life, and by September 29, Ramirez was facing a total of 68 felony charges, including 14 counts of murder and 22 counts of sexual assault. One of the murder counts was dropped before trial, but 8 new felonies including 2 more rapes and 1 attempted murder were added to the list in December 1985. Ramirez's sister told the press he wanted to plead guilty, a desire frustrated by his attorneys, but the suspect made no public display of repentance. Sporting a pentagram on the palm of one hand, the night trial was another Los Angeles marathon. Jury selection began on July 22, 1988, but T was September 20, 1989, before jurors convicted him on 13 murder counts and 30 related felonies. 2 weeks later, on October 4, the panel recommended execution for Ramirez, and he was formally sentenced to death on November 7, 1989. "You maggots make me sick," he told the court. "You don't understand me. 1 a.m. beyond good and evil. One will be avenged. Lucifer dwells in us all." Outside the courtroom, he told reporters, "Big deal. Death always went with the territory. I'll see you at Disneyland. Subsequently shipped to San Francisco for trial in the Peter Pan slaying, Ramirez was besieged by female groupies lining up to visit him in jail. The competition for his time, including brawls among his young admirers, disrupted jailhouse routines that Ramirez was moved to San Quentin in September 1993, awaiting his trial on death row. Upon admission to Q, Ramirez was found to have a metal canister hidden in his rectum containing a key and a needle and syringe. In June 1995, the San Francisco prosecution was postponed indefinitely, pending an appellate ruling on his prior conviction, expected sometime in the next millennium. Late in the 20th century, hell glutted on humanity. It is the first bloodletting of that season of the devil that occurred on the warm evening of June 28, 1984, when an earthbound Lucifer found his way into the small Glassell Park apartment of 79-year-old Jenny Vincow. Throughout the Los Angeles area, a damp humidity had oppressed the air that day, and when the evening came and the temperature slightly cooled, Jenny left her window open to invite what slight breeze there might be into her flat. Like a fallen leaf, decayed and tossed from its source, a fallen angel, dark, angry, and also eating, blew across the sill of that open window. When the demon departed through that same window, he left behind Jenny Vincow, raped, beaten, and nearly decapitated. Her body was found by her son, who lived above her ground floor apartment, just south of Forest Lawn Park, reports the Los Angeles Times. Her throat had been slashed, and she had been stabbed repeatedly. The police were baffled. But, in the months to come, they were to encounter a madman whose lust for killing and depravity equaled, if not surpassed, that of Jack the Ripper or, more contemporary, the Hillside Strangler. Soon to be named the Night Stalker by the press, this man Wilson. The woman awoke in her bed to the blind. He bound her hands behind her with a pair of pantyhose, then fell upon her.
Hold
As
on,
he raped
folks.
and sodomized her, his foul breath and had been produced of the killer, compiled from descriptions from those few who lived to tell of their attack and from witnesses who had seen the shooting of Cy Lien Yu on Alhambra Avenue. The suspect was of Hispanic descent, about 25 to 30 years old, with minor variations, wore long,
Albert
unkempt
Fish
black hair
was
that hung in
definitely
greasy
interesting, to
strands
be
over a
honest.
high
Yes,
forehead and
I
straggled
agree,
down
Vale.
across a skeletally thin, pock-marked face. Cheekbones were sunken, lips thick, chin square. According to Ruth Wilson, his teeth were jagged and rotten. The description wasn't a pretty one, and it fit the face of the monster he was. Each testimony had him dressed in all black.
All right, everybody. That takes care of that part of that. Sorry, it was kind of drawn out a bit. One moment here. One moment, everyone. Okay, give me a second, everybody. Again, thank you all for joining me tonight. Very much do appreciate you. All right. I got this for you guys as well to kind of get a little grasp on this maniac, per se. One moment, everyone. All right. Everybody, this is an interview with Mr. Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker killer. Again, let me know how the audio is. I've wondered that for a long time, Vale. We may actually be getting into something with that, to be honest with you, because it is crime. I got a couple mafia-related scenarios we're going to get into because it's all crime, and it's one of my passions as well. So we will be definitely getting into that, Vale. So just so you know. All right, guys, here we go. Again, let me know how the audio sounds.
We are all evil in some form or another, are we not?
Convicted serial killer Richard Ramirez seemed to relish the concept of evil, and once upon a time, a lot of folks in the state of California viewed the one-time Texas altar boy as evil's human embodiment.
Yes, I am evil. Not 100%, but I am evil.
In the summer of 1985, the Texas drifter descended like a deadly disease on a hot California night. A one-man epidemic of madness and murder, one of America's first serial killers to be given a brand name, the Night Stalker.
Lock your doors, lock your windows. If you have the ability to provide additional security devices, then by all means do so.
Thank you, Fifi.
He preyed on both women and men, young and old. He slipped through windows, slit throats, raped, tortured, and killed.
What he did to me has been the total destruction of my life and my girlfriend's life.
Former computer engineer Bill Carnes, one of Ramirez's many victims. One night, Carnes and his girlfriend were assaulted in their bed.
It's funny that you said that, Derek. I think he's here in Ohio where I'm at, to be honest with you. And I'll tell you one day why.
Woman was raped and Bill Carnes shot 3 times in the head. Bill Carnes ended up in a group home with a bullet still lodged in his brain.
He stole my memory. He took my girlfriend. He took my career. And this was just an unprovoked attack.
But after dozens of such attacks, police identified their suspect. And on the morning of August 1st, 1985, Richard Ramirez's picture ran on front pages. And within hours, angry residents of this East LA neighborhood spotted, captured, and then severely beat Richard Ramirez as he tried to steal a car to evade police.
We're happy to announce that the individual we have in custody is Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker.
I can't begin to tell you how proud we, all of us, are the people in this community who, to a man and a woman, were involved in trying to track this guy down and capture him.
That night, there was dancing in the streets of the East LA neighborhood where Ramirez was caught, but in court, the case dragged on for 4 long years, with the Texas drifter frequently disrupting the proceedings by displaying satanic signs and shouting obscenities at the judge.
This trial is a joke.
With the jury in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Richard Ramirez, guilty of murder.
But in the end, the jury sent Richard Ramirez to California's death row for 13 murders. I first met Richard Ramirez shortly after his LA conviction. Richard had been transferred to a jail in San Francisco where he was charged with and ultimately would be found guilty of a 14th murder.
What do you want the world to know about you?
The world has been fed many lies about me. I have read very few truths.
Who are you?
Just a guy. Just a guy.
At the time, Ramirez was certainly a guy attracting a lot of attention. Since his arrival at the San Francisco jail, women from around the country, including one of the female jurors who had found him guilty in Los Angeles, had been flocking to the San Francisco facility, even fighting with each other over Richard's affections.
I have friends. That is all I care to say, really. They are open-minded people.
And it was here in a cramped room in a San Francisco jail that I interviewed the man known as the Night Stalker. A memorable face-off with me asking questions and Ramirez, for the most part, reading from a script.
It's okay, Molly.
Did you kill 13 people?
It would be improper for me to comment on my LA convictions and on my pending case here in San Francisco
Why?
because of my appeals.
Are you appealing these because you say you're innocent? You didn't kill 13 people?
That is correct.
You didn't kill 13 people.
Again, it would be improper for me to comment in any regard to that question.
You have now entered a very rare group of people in this country. You're in the ranks of Charlie Manson. Ted Bundy. You claim you didn't commit these murders, but you're right in there now as far as everybody else is concerned.
Serial killers do on a small scale what governments do on a large one. They are a product of the times, and these are bloodthirsty times. Even psychopaths have emotions if you dig deep enough, but then again, maybe they don't.
Do you have emotions, Richard?
No comments.
Tell me what kind of emotions you got going through you right now. Was made that you're a devil worshiper. Do you worship the devil? Have you ever studied Satanism?
There are different sects of Satanism.
Have you studied, just yes or no, have you studied
Yes,
Satanism?
yes, I have.
Are you a worshiper of the devil?
No comment.
Come on, Richard.
I can tell you a little bit about Satanism.
Well, I'm interested in hearing what you got to say then.
It is undefiled wisdom instead of hypocritical self-deceit. It is power without charity. The Satanist admits to being evil.
Do you admit to being evil, Richard?
We are all evil in some form or another, are we not?
And that, everyone, is right there why Anton LaVey, well, not the only reason why, but one of the main reasons why he had nothing to do with Ramirez, because it had nothing to do with that. The way that LaVey explained the religion has nothing to do with being evil, being a killer, a murderer, any of that kind of stuff, you guys. It was nothing like that. If you ever read into that, PW knows about that, as she said, so on and so forth. It's nothing to do with that. This guy right here is reading what he's saying in this interview is basically stuff that he probably wrote down to say, okay, and memorized. Honestly, it is a script of his in his mind, basically, to put this big picture of this this scary guy out there. He can't put on any other persona than I'm this big scary guy, okay? And it's pathetic if you ask me. He's weak. He in my opinion, Richard Ramirez was weak-minded, scared, okay? His father was an alcoholic and was very abusive to him, and that is how he was raised. And this is him trying to put up this protective front to make everybody think he's this big bad guy. Period. That's my opinion of him, okay? So just saying, that's why I interrupted, folks. Sorry.
Asking you the questions, my friend.
Yes, I am evil. Not 100%, but I am evil. Evil has always existed. The perfect world most people seek shall never come to pass, and it's going to get worse. The great epochs of our life is when we gain the courage to rebaptize our
Exactly, PW.
best qualities.
And as the interview draws to a close, I cannot help but recall Bill Carnes and the thought that behind this glib young man, who seems to flatter himself as a kind of rock star outlaw, lies the bodies of at least 13 innocent people and the shattered lives of dozens more.
You're entitled to your opinion. That's it. Thank you. Shut the camera.
All right, and there is that. Thank you. That's the best way to put it right there, PW. He's a poser. He was trying to put himself out there as this person that he wasn't. Well, hello, little one. 1 second, folks. So yeah, he is 100%. I'm glad you said that. That is wholeheartedly what he was a poser. He was putting on a persona to protect himself, put up a wall to protect himself, tried to make himself this hard ass to protect himself when he was none of that. He was a scared, weak-minded, sad person, obviously with psychotic tendencies, but still. And that's what a lot of these people are, guys, in my opinion. That's my wholehearted opinion, guys. Derek says, I believe the key players in the Hoffa disappearance are Tony G, Cologne, Boston, Detroit. I think the Giancana family was 100% behind it, as well as a couple other people. Santo Travacante was very possibly involved as well. There's a lot to it. We're going to do this one night, Derek. I have a whole history I've done on this. Very, very well versed on this. Partially because of some of who my family is. I know quite a bit about this. So, yeah. That's it, Derek. Good way to put it, too. Ramirez was a little man who wanted to be known. He wanted to be important because he never was. He was a nobody. He was a weak-minded nobody, and he wanted to be somebody, and he wasn't smart enough, per se, to be anybody in any other way, so he went about it this way. So, it is what it is, folks, you know? And a lot of these people, this is what comes from it. Let's see here. One moment here. And of course, he tried to blame. He said the devil made me do it. You know, typically that's how it was. It's pretty pathetic. And again, they do believe that this started from his cousin Mike and seeing what happened. So, one second here. And it was there was even, I don't know, Nikki might know this. There was even an interview done with Charlie Manson, okay, where Charles Manson even said that this guy is pathetic, that he's weak-minded, that he's a little boy, things like that. I looked for it. I couldn't find the interview with Manson. I would have loved to have showed you that, but he did say that. Word for word. Because they had asked him, at one point in time, there was an interview with him where they were talking about different variations of serial killers and cultists and things like that. And they had asked Manson, they said, so what do you think of the Night Stalker or Richard Ramirez? And he laughed and said, Night Stalker. He goes, cute name. And you know how Manson talked. And he said, word for word, he said, he's weak. Well, hello. How are you? Good to see you. I didn't even know you were here. Say hi.
Hello.
Good to see you, darling. Let me finish. Okay. He said that he was, as I said, he said he was weak-minded. I'm sorry, and he said he was pathetic, and he called him a little boy, and I was just like, wow, okay. And that came from Manson, who was, you know, in quote, the king cultist in a sense. So, Manson said that if you got him out, he would do it again. He called Richard an idiot. That's right. Thank you, PW. So yeah, he just even and there was I do believe there was another interview with another convicted serial killer that nobody liked this guy, you guys. Even his own people, if you want to call it that, did not like him. So I heard that, but I don't know that for a fact, PW. I don't want to tell you guys that if it's not facts. Nikki says, yeah, they shared a cell block and common area. Yeah, he did call him an idiot. I loved it too. And there were other, like I said, killers that had interviewed with other people about and made comments about him too. Oh, let's see. Derek says, hell, there was an interview done with Gacy, and they even tried putting him in their category. And Gacy said, I'm not. Yeah. Yep. Each one of these guys, you guys, classified themselves as the one and only. The only one that never voiced that was Dahmer that I know of. Okay. And I never heard it if it was, but Gacy was the one and only. Even this idiot thought that he was the one and only. You know, BTK claimed himself as being the one and only. Nobody else was ever like him. I mean, a lot of these guys wanted to do that to blow their heads up, you know. And I get it, but it is what it is. A space to his own sex. He said puppet frequently. Yes. Kemper. I don't know anything about that one. I've never really got into him. Yeah, Manson and Ramirez were at the same prison, from what I understand, at some point. So, does anybody have any questions, comments, theories, opinions, anything, guys, about this? Love to hear it. I really would. This guy, I read a lot about him over the years, and one second, everyone. Sorry. Mindhunter. What is that? The Netflix thing? Is that what you're talking about? Oh yeah, yeah. And I think that he could have done well. I still think he did things behind bars. I really do. And it's, you know, I hate to say these things, but it is a good thing he's gone, you guys. He was a waste of life, in my opinion. Yeah, I probably will, Nikki, when I have some extra time. And it's just, I still feel that other things happened. Maybe not that he had direct hands on per se, but something that he was done because of him, because of his cultist following. Okay. And that's the thing, CC. He had a rock star following. Women were in love with him just because of how it projects. It projects a form of power. Okay. I mean, he had a certain look to him. You know, he had the Jim Morrison rock star looking thing with the long hair. That part I understand. But he was a serial killer, for God's sakes. That should evade anything about his appearance, you guys. That's my opinion, but it didn't. So, and it's a mental thing too. You know, it really is. Yeah. Right. And again, for those of you that, if you would like to call in, please feel free. I'd love to hear from you. In any sense, if you got any opinions, thoughts, theories on this, I'd love to hear from you again. Oh, hold on a minute. Let me move this here and put this up here. The number is 234-703-4047. give me a call. Let me hear your voice. Let's talk about it, everyone. I'd love to hear from you. And if not, no pressure. You guys are more than welcome to just type something in chat and we can talk about it there. Oh, yeah. That was said multiple times. Dream big. By the way, welcome. If I didn't say it, it's great to have you here. Multiple times with multiple different killers that were in prison because of what they've done, who have girlfriends, wives, people that are in love with them. He will change for me. I know he will change for me. It's been said umpteen times, guys. It's sad. It's so sad. I could save him with my love. Again, yes. And that's why some of these women fall in love with these guys, because they think they can save them. Well, guess what, lady? He already committed the crimes that he committed. What are you going to do for him now? Nothing. Go live your life and find a normal person if you can. Since you are attracted to people like this, it's probably rare. Actually, yeah, Heather's correct. It is very common in abusive relationships. Cece says, I think that some of them married them because they wouldn't have to live with them. Just being married is what they wanted to say. And a lot of times, you know what, Michelle, sorry, not Cece. She was responding to Cece. In a sense, it was a way to say, I married Richard Ramirez. It was going to give you some form of popularity. No, people are going to think you're insane. And nobody's going to want to come around you because you're insane, because you're married to this person. Or you want to marry this person. You know what I mean? You know who else was a serial killer? Roy DeMeo. He was an associate in the game. Oh, yeah, I know who he is. Yeah, we're going to do parts of this series on mafia crimes as well, because there's movies. We got at some point we're going to tell the true story behind the movie Goodfellas. What was, I'm trying to remember. We're going to do the story behind The Irishman, because these are crime stories. So yes, 100%. So we will definitely be covering mafia crimes for 100%, because I have a huge passion for that, guys. I have to say, because he's been with me, he was my number one moderator. He pops in and out of here at time to time. Faux Popper, he's like my internet best friend, you know, so on and so forth in here. And we're pretty close, but that's a big passion of his as well. So I think he would enjoy that too. He's very much into mafia history. So
love it.
Plus side, he can eat corn through a picket. Shut up, Nikki. That was you're a dick. That was so funny. Mama Bear, good to see you, darling. Isn't it past your bedtime though? Thank you for being here with us. I appreciate it. Does anyone have anything to add to this at this point? The Italian mafia does not want serial killers in their ranks. Roy DeMeo was chopping bodies up in their hangout. Oh, yeah. He was a disaster. So, well, it's about that time, everybody. Let me see here. Uh-oh, where's it at? Where's it at? Where did it go? Oh no. Okay, I know what I gotta do. That wasn't supposed to happen. I see what happened. One moment, folks. Let me bring it up here. So, as I'm pulling this up, does anybody have any ideas? Cornflakes. How do you eat yours? That's a good question, Dream Big. I just like them plain, I'll be honest with you. Maybe a little bit of chopped up strawberries in there. I love cornflakes. I'm not going to call in because I'll just lecture Dago his lack of education in Kemper and ask how he can run a true crime channel without watching Mindhunter. Well, probably because I had no interest in Kemper and I've looked at everybody else. So I think I qualify in that sense. And Mindhunter, I just don't have time to watch TV all the time. So I don't think that disqualifies me as a true crime channel. Just saying. Hold on a minute here. What was I trying to find? This made me completely go. Dozing on and off as we speak. Excuse me one moment, everyone. I'll be right back. All right, guys, I got to back up. Sorry about that. So, does anybody have? Let's see. Sorry about that, everyone. Any ideas for Monday night that you want to throw out there for me? If not, okay, now I got that step. I forgot to throw it up, Heather. I'm sorry. Sorry. In fact, I need to do that real quick, guys. If you don't mind, my apologies, everyone. There it is. All right, and if you'll excuse me for one moment, I do need to use the restroom. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. Welcome, Star. I've heard of Paul Bernardo and Carla Homolka. I'm not familiar with Clifford Olson. It's interesting. My apologies for the silence, Dream Big. Had a little bit of a technical issue I was trying to fix the first time. So I'm sorry about that. Yes, Heather, that's what I'm setting up right now. Excuse me. Does anybody have any ideas or thoughts or opinions on what we should do for Monday night? Doing to break into the child marketing ring up near the okay.
It's fine.
No worries, Dream Big. Just want to make sure that you guys are happy with the situation. I hate doing that kind of thing to you guys. It was a it was a technical issue.
Hi, baby. No problem.
I have autism, and that's why I mentioned the child trafficking ring, and then her granddaughter's beautiful in the same breath. I'm not a weirdo.
Oh no, it's okay. Thanks for calling in, Nikki. So what's going on?
A while ago, I had watched a documentary about a series of church camps that were based in Detroit, and it was the 5 kids that didn't survive it, and then the one who did. And the one who did actually had to go up and testify and ended up shutting down like a leg of it. But it's been completely and utterly fascinating to me, and I feel like it ties into Delphi.
Why do you feel that way?
Because it's right there in the same area. It's the same crew of those usual suspects. I don't think it was all the way shut down. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
I just feel like there's direct ties, and it seems way more corporate than that moron was capable of pulling over on those 2 little girls in Delphi. That's just my theory on it.
So you don't think that he was responsible for Delphi?
No, I think he was. I think the oh my god, I cannot remember this dude's name. The one who was doing the online catfishing.
Oh
They were
yeah.
part of it. Like, they were assigned roles.
That
or
guy.
They had privileges of some sort.
Mm-hmm. No, I got you. That guy was a creep, to be 100% honest.
I mean, that's just me. I also think that Summer Wells was sold into a similar situation to pay for her parents' drug debt.
That was one of my theories. I don't want to say per se that she was sold. One of my theories on that one was that she was given to somebody because they owed money. That's what I think it was. So in a sense, it's still being sold. But I thought either given or she was taken by force because they owed money, and it was taken and she was put into that trafficking scenario. That was probably my least favorite theory, but yes, it was one of my theories.
I'm gonna just fully unleash my inner geek here. And have you ever played any of the BioShock games?
A little bit, not very much.
BioShock Infinite's like catchphrases: "Bring us the girl and wipe away the debt."
Yeah.
And Booker's supposed to obtain this perfect child and relinquish her over to the man.
Right.
And all of his debts, all of his sins will be forgiven.
Uh-huh.
And he's quote unquote guaranteed passage to heaven, no matter what he's done.
Well, that's
yeah.
You remember Don saying what he said, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if you were going into that or not, but that he basically said, I'll see her. I'm trying to remember his exact words. I'll see her when the rapture happens, is what he said. Basically.
Yeah, and I know this is probably going to be unpopular opinion and crime chats or whatever. There's only one other place I've ever talked about Summer Wells other than with Molly, because I know she's just as devoted, and she actually like triggered some real deep dreams for me with a drawing that she did, because I do follow everything she does with Summer Wells, because I know she feels the same way I do.
Well,
but I actually was on another live chat where I said the same thing that I'm about to say, which is I don't think originally the dad knew anything about what was going on or what was about to happen or what had happened until a little bit later in the case. And I think Candace finally came clean, and I think she finally told him without assuming any guilt or any responsibility, of course, because that's just, not her thing. But I think that he found out, and that's why he pulled away from her. And I think he finally had to make his peace with the fact that he would never see any of his kids if they didn't band together.
So you don't think that Don had anything to do with any part of it at all?
Oh, no, I think he ran up the debt just like Candace did, but I don't think he had anything to do with letting his little girl go, because I think that man was obsessed with his daughter. And I think,
Where'd it go?
boys take care of their mamas, little girls take care of their papas.
I mean, I get that too. Well, see there, because one of my theories, if you don't remember, by the way, and I'm glad you said what you said, so you'll enjoy this probably. We're going back. I'm going to go back here in a little pretty soon, and we're going to cover Summer from the very beginning to where we're at right now all over again. And I'm going to pull out all my notes, and I want to cover everything that we looked at. You weren't here with us when we did it, and I'm going to cover it all and see if there's anything that was missed, anything that was overlooked, anything that was new that would make something look different. But I'm going to do it because it's starting to become too cold for me. And it's something that I have a huge passion for. That was one of my first major cases I ever ran out here online. And it really bugs me. It really, really, really bugs me. So we're going to do it as a whole. It may take more than one day, but we're going to do it. But one of my running theories was that, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, sorry, I was putting the boys in their crates.
That's okay. One of my running theories was that.
It sounds like Gary Busey's over here giving oral.
I mean, if you want to call it that, okay. Was that something happened? Well, the two major theories was that she ended up, as Hunter said, at that watering hole. She went up and down the water and got too much water in her lungs and possibly dry drowned. That's my weaker one. And then the whole scenario commenced from there. She contacted Don because she's not allowed to do anything without Don's permission. And he came, they met halfway. He did something with her and things moved on. But the other theory that I'm more prone to go with.
I always wondered why Hunter thought that he knew what was going on or had the authority to speak on it.
Well, I mean, he was questioned by reporters and different people, so on and so forth. That's why I believe he was told to. I also think that he was told not to.
Summer, I just want to give you that fair warning that you're about to see a whole new side of Obsessed.
Well, that's how I was with it too. But here's the other side, the other theory I have, okay? This is the one that I stand behind the most. I do believe that everything went on as was said, that they went to the hospital for Grandis, did this, did that. Hunter was picked up. Hunter and Nasty were drinking and smoking weed together, not paying attention to the child, okay? Doing their thing, so on and so forth. And she may have gotten a little extra water in her lungs, which slowed her down. The water was only 71 degrees that day, okay? I have all this info because I was that into it.
All right.
And it was 71 degrees that day. She only weighed 40, I can't remember exact number, but 40-some pounds. That was
before sunset too, right?
Oh yeah, it was way before sunset. It was like earlier in the day, but yeah, she was 40-some pounds. She was very small framed. She was very undernourished, as we all know, because they were neglectful parents. And so she had nothing to protect her from being cold. So they put all those clothes on her, as we saw, long sleeve, pants, blah, blah, blah. And in Tennessee, it was 90-some odd degrees that day, even though she was cold. Okay. Then they go to first of all, and not to mention that child was not fed that day one time. They went to Sonic and got a slushie, an ice-filled drink, which made her even colder. No food still, okay?
That's if she even got the slushie.
Well,
because, show of hands, how many parents go to Sonic and just buy their kid a slushie and that's it?
Well, this woman, I wouldn't put it past her.
I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Been in the next thing that I thought my plan B with it.
So that
my plan A was she was sold. Plan B was, I think, what you're about to get into.
So that's going to lower her core temperature a little bit more too. So this is probably a little off, guys. But here's the thing: remember that Candace was smoking weed. She also understands something. The trip to the hospital that morning was a pill trip. Okay. They both were looking for pills. That's constantly what they were doing, constantly, and that's what Candace wants, because she takes all sorts of them and was taking Grandis so that she could get some of Grandis's script to take. So she probably took what pills that they got at Walgreens that day, whatever Grandis gave her, on top of smoking whatever she was smoking and drinking whatever she was drinking. So at that point in the day when they left the swimming hole, She was probably tired. So here's what I think actually happened, possibly, was that she went home. We saw that Summer was sleeping in the back of the truck. She probably figured, because this is a normal thing, that Summer fell asleep. She'll wake up. I'm going to go inside. She probably laid down to take a nap because she's a piece of garbage and she's lazy and so on and so forth, and was high on multiple things. Okay. And she passed out and went to sleep, not thinking because she's not that person that, but eventually Summer would probably get up, get out of the truck, go do what she's going to do, so on and so forth. Mind you, Summer's wearing all these clothes. It was 97 degrees that day with humidity in Tennessee.
Oh, you're going a different direction than I thought, but go ahead. I'm very interested in this.
At that point in time. So we all remember at some point in time during the day that, what's her name? Jody Sue heard a loud scream. Okay. The scream, I do believe, is true, because I think what happened was that Candace went inside. She fell asleep. The boys were playing their video games. Grandis went next door. She had her pills too. She took a nap. Nobody was awake except the boys. The boys don't think about it when they're playing video games. A couple hours goes by. Candace wakes up, or something woke her up. She gets up. She starts moving around. She doesn't see Summer. She goes looking for her. She walks out. Oh, no. She's still in the truck, sleeping. The temperature, again, folks, with the humidity inside the truck that the windows were rolled up on. She's wearing all of these warm clothes, long sleeves, long pants, blah, blah, blah. She opens the truck. She goes to try to wake her up and realizes she's not waking up. She shakes her. She checks her, whatever. She realizes she's gone. And she screams this blood-curdling scream because her child's gone. She does still have some kind of humanity in her mind. And she calls Don immediately, because that's the rule. You have to call him. And he takes out, this is why I think the timeline is screwed up for when he came home. He leaves his work site right then and there. And if you remember, she left right after that scream was heard and did whatever. They said she went to look for her. I think she went and met Don and handed Summer off to Don. And Don did what he did with her. And then he came home, and that's why he said he met. I can't remember if it was after the police or before the police got there. And that's why the time was screwed up with that.
Yeah, that's something I hadn't considered. I will be the first to admit when I'm wrong. I think that's one of my only redeeming traits. But I can admit that makes more sense than what I thought. My plan B was that she left them, all the kids, in the inept care, two teenagers that were doing the same, or at least half the same substances that she was.
Right.
And then whenever maybe Summer had tried drowning.
Yeah.
And the boys didn't know how to handle it. And, just like any teenage boy does, hide it. Hide it. Somebody else did it, hide it.
Yeah, that's possible.
That she thought that her debt had finally come due, that bill was coming up. And I think that for one, the most telling signs for me was the fact that she didn't really refer to Summer by her name on Dr. Phil ever, or in any interview I've seen before that.
Right.
She always called her my baby or my child or things like that. She didn't very often, at least, refer to her as Summer or in an affectionate type of tone. Don, complete opposite. I think that's why Don was so outspoken, because he really had no freaking clue what was happening until somebody told him what happened.
Right.
And then I think that's why you see the guilt. But I think that's why she had screamed, was because she realized Summer was gone and nobody had an answer, and she thought, oh my God, these drug dealers took my child because of me, because of what we've been doing. I think that's why she had screamed. That was my initial plan B, although I will admit it was make a lot more logical sense. But I think that's why she cried, though, with the whole cornbread mafia thing. I don't know what the hell cornbread mafia is, but
it's nothing. It's nothing real. It's nothing real.
Well, apparently it's rumored to be a gang, and I couldn't understand for the longest time why she would cry over that, but not over her baby.
I think she was crying. You talking about when she cried on Dr. Phil?
Yeah, and it was, she only like reacted at all with that one freaking fight.
I think that was guilt.
And that just threw me for a rent.
I think that was guilt. I think she felt the guilt of what had happened and knows that it's her fault. And I think that Dawn knows that it's her fault, which is why he pulled away from her. And in the end, I think that that child is either in a well under some concrete or in a wall at one of those construction sites that Dawn had worked at. That's why I think that he left, met her halfway, took Summer, and that's what I think he did with her. In my opinion. And this is all speculation, folks, by the way.
Right. I mean, and from the get-go, the entire time we were watching the Chris Block thing, I full on was like, he did it. And my husband was like, oh, you always think the husband did it. Like, maybe not ever true crimes like that. And I'm like, he did it. He did it. And then he started saying that Shanann did it. And then he killed her in response. And I took a step back and I said, you know what? If that happened to me, I'd have killed him or her too.
Right.
All right, let's see where this is going. I still feel like he did it. But if she did it and he killed her, I don't blame him. I hope he goes free. And obviously that was not the case at all. But I just don't get that feeling at all from Dawn. I get this whole like
I think
and I can't do anything about it.
I think Dawn knows something. I don't think Dawn did it. I don't think he's the one that was responsible for anything. I think he just tried to solve it because, again, understand everybody that the day after Summer went missing, there was an appointment for a CSB worker to come there to do an investigation because of stuff that was going on in the house, so on and so forth. And they knew that if this happened, whether it was accidental or not, that they were probably going to lose all their kids, lose all their benefits, and lose all of everything, basically, okay? And that they would probably be facing criminal charges because of it for neglect or whatever. And I think that's why he took her and he did what he did with her rather than contacting the authorities because of it. So.
And I'm not arguing with you on that point because I definitely agree to them at that point in their life. Those benefits meant more to them than their children did.
Absolutely.
I'm not arguing that for 1 second. But the thing I will argue with you is the one thing that meant more to them than those benefits did. The supply. Which is why I keep touching back to the fact that Candace traded her off.
Well, and any of that's very possible. Yeah.
Even if somebody just threatened to do it, and she turned a blind eye to it and didn't say anything about it, just let it happen. I keep coming back to that, and I admonish anybody who relies on supernatural, whatever type of things to solve anything.
Right.
However, I will also sort of with this case because I had several freaking dreams, and it's not like with the Idaho thing. With the Idaho thing, I always dream that I'm in the house with Maddie.
Right.
She doesn't want to go upstairs because she's terrified. We're on the first floor, and she doesn't want to go up the stairs on the first floor to the second floor because she's terrified. And it never goes further than that. And everybody who's in the dream is in black and white and just walking through us and past us like backing us. Just business as usual.
Gotcha.
With Summer Wells, Molly did a drawing. And I'm going to put myself out there. I don't care if I sound like a nut job. I'm going to say it. Molly did a drawing to where I saw it and I instantly just felt like someone had ran their nails down my back at a bar. Like a stranger had come up behind me and ran his nails down my back and breathed on my neck with halitosis. I just got this feeling.
Okay.
And I had nightmares that night to where I described to Molly in a message what I'd seen in my nightmare. And she had said, it sounds like you're describing the same dream I had. How weird is that?
Right.
We've never met. By the way, I've never met Molly.
Right.
We've chatted about Summer Wells, so that's pretty much it, other than just channel talk. And I mean, that makes me think this poor baby is just crying out, somebody please find my way home. Somebody please help me.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if anybody else in here, I'm sure everybody believes in some sort of an afterlife or happily ever, but that's why I'm so devoted to Summer Wells, and I can't drop it. I didn't know you. I was just extensively watching any radio or whatever she did.
Right.
Or Candace and Dawn before you. And I'm very excited to hear your investigation and your take on it because I know it's actually credible and it's not just speculation like everything else. So,
right.
I'm getting worked up right now just thinking about it. Like, that poor little girl. Like, yeah, sorry.
No, that one bothered me a lot. I spent a lot of time on it. I have 4 notebooks full of stuff on it. And yeah, so I'm not going to be done with it either until something comes out of it. So that is why we're going to go back and revisit it from the beginning, the very beginning, and take it all the way up to right now and see what comes out of that. And I'm going to continuously revisit it and not allow it to go cold as long as we keep putting it out there and putting her name out there until something comes of it, until one of the 2 of them or both of them admit to what has happened, or somebody comes forward with something. I'm going to continuously do that with that case as well as a few others.
Needs to be held accountable.
Right.
And we got no Ashley Banfield in our chat. We got all Brian and me. So we might be the one to solve this like Gabby Petito style.
Yeah.
I have every freaking faith in our chat. We might be the ones to fucking dig it up. Sorry for the language.
It's all right.
I get it worked out.
No worries. No worries.
I think it just really hit home though because Summer could be a twin to this little girl that I used to babysit, my best friend's stepdaughter.
Right.
And it just, I saw her little face on TV and she grabbed a hold of my heart and she's not letting go.
Gotcha.
And I'm gonna let her hang on to it until we find somebody responsible and hold them accountable.
Right. No, I get it. I absolutely agree.
My husband's giving me a look like, I told you this was gonna happen. I told you. You were just gonna call him to harass him, and now look at you, all worked up, pasted in the kitchen.
Yeah. Well, that just shows that you have passion for it. That's all. There's nothing wrong with that.
I definitely do, and he knows that. He knows I've woken up in the middle of the night and been like talking about a case in my sleep, and then woken up and asked him a question about the case, and he's like, "Babe, what are you doing? Come on."
Right. Yeah, I lost sleep over that one as much as I did with Kylie Rodney. Quite a few actually, because you just think about it so much that it happens.
And see, everybody talks about the Kylie Rodney case. I was not here or around for it. I told you, your channel was the first live I ever watched, and it was also the first live I ever talked on, and I watched it about a month before I actually got the balls to talk on it. Look at me now.
Right.
But
that's okay.
I'm still relatively new to YouTube, and the only thing I had before was the other channel that was just for my kids to watch videos of the dog when they're at their dad's house.
Right.
And my dog was honestly, she'd just given birth to 12 puppies whenever the whole Kylie Rodney thing happened. So and she wouldn't nurse them. So I was making 8 meals a day for 12 puppies, and that was kind of consuming my life. So I missed the Kylie Rodney thing, but I've been just staying on Summer, and, Rachel, she's got my heart too. I won't ever let go of Rachel. I don't care if they put me in the ground and they still haven't overturned that ruling. I won't ever give up on Rachel.
Right. No, I understand.
And then we got a local girl, Michelle Mullen. We had a 19-year-old in June of last year that was jogging in the park that is literally 20 feet from our backyard.
Okay.
And she saw somebody had hit a kitten and left it on the side of the road. And she jumped over to check on the kitten, and a big truck pulled up and asked her what's wrong. And she said, somebody just hit this kitten, and I guess they left it here, I'm going to see, I think you can still live. I need to get it to a vet. And he goes, well, here, let me see if I can help you. And he gets out of the truck, he comes over and acts like he's going to help her. and tries clubbing her over the back of the head and dragging her into his truck. This is just 20 feet from my backyard right now.
Right.
And come to find out, it was not this county that I live in, but the next county over's brother. His brother runs the county commission in the next county over, and he got it covered up. But cops aren't fine with that because our local PD is ruthless. They have a 98.9% success rate. So they were not letting go of it. They weren't taking the payoff, and they were pretty ruthless. And they showed up knocking on this dude's door, despite what his brother had asked. And the guy locked himself in a bathroom and put a bullet in a place that would prevent him from answering any questions ever again.
Right. Good night, Sunshine. Have a good night. Thanks for joining us.
Instantly, they covered all of that up. Instantly.
That's
then it was
sad.
like, okay, we'll take that payoff. We'll cover it all up now, but we don't have anything to pursue. And the guy who was podcasting on it was receiving threats of lawsuits and then bodily harm from the county commissioner, and then went missing.
Oh, that ain't cool.
And nobody's heard from him since about August.
Interesting. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. They raised a lake on the family's property. Nothing.
Huh.
Or at least nothing they're saying. So I'm curious about that too. But he was also tied, the same dude that put the bullet in the bad place.
Right.
Has also been tied to the podcaster released a thing about how he was intimately in relations with 4 of the women that went missing and have either neither been found or their pieces have gone cold and buried in our area.
That's interesting, to say the least.
So Michelle Wallace is the one that stands out for me.
Right.
She's found in her car right outside our family's Harley dealership. And it's been unsolved since the late 80s, I believe.
Okay.
So just my other one that's a tight case of mine.
Gotcha. Well, I appreciate you calling. I got to do this polling for the next movie night.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. It's all right. I appreciate you calling very much. Very interesting. I appreciate hearing what you had to say.
Just tell me to shut up next time.
No, I don't do that. You know that. But I do have to do the poll, and there's a couple people leaving here. I want to catch them before they go. So I thank you so very much, Nikki, for calling in. I appreciate and respect your opinions and theories so very much.
Give that wife and that grandbaby just for me.
I will do that. And again, thank you so much for calling.
No problem, buddy.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, Nikki, thank you again so very much for that. So, guys, I didn't see anybody throw anything out right off the bat. So one of the cases that I was going to have you guys check out and then give you the story behind was, again, that we had talked about before, the Wonderland murders. And then Jonestown was the other one. So I'll throw up the poll. Everybody, please, if you would, vote on it. And we will see what we got going on. And that's the first one, is just Wonderland. Vote on it. Give me your idea, or give me what your thought is on that one, and we'll see what we can get out of it. And then we'll go from there and see what we got going on. One second here. All right. Make sure you guys vote, please, please, please. For those of you that have or are leaving or whatever, to have to go, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I do appreciate it. We ended up with a fairly decent amount of people. I hope you guys enjoyed the story behind it. I appreciate you so very much for being here. Very much. So like I said, make sure you're voting, everyone. Please, please, please. Miss Cheryl, good to see you. Wonderland Murder. It's actually a very interesting story, Star. It's the one that John Holmes was involved in, happened in California. It's definitely interesting, to say the very least. Um, 1 second here. One second. Sorry, guys. Absolutely, Derek. Feel free to, please. I love hearing when you guys call in. I love talking to you guys. I love hearing your thoughts, your theories, your opinions, anything. Absolutely, Star. And then again, the other one is Jonestown, about Jim Jones and that scenario, which was another sad scenario. And there's so many more we're going to touch on. And again, guys, if you have any thoughts or interesting, well, it's great to have you here, Cheryl, either way, or any kind of interesting stories that you want to go about, and have me cover for you, please throw it out there. Don't be shy by any means whatsoever. Please, please, please. For those of you guys that have sent me messages and stuff in Discord and otherwise, thank you so much for that. I appreciate you guys. Absolutely do. Don't worry about it, Nikki. It's okay. I'm the same way. Once I get talking about something I have a serious interest about, it's hard to get me to stop talking about it. So I understand completely. Absolutely, Derek. Please do. Typically, I try to run the calls between 3 to 5 minutes. I try to stay in that realm so it doesn't go too far, but I get it. Sometimes you start, like I said, you start talking about something you're interested in, and it rolls out of set. So please give us a call, brother. Please do it. We all love to hear from anybody that calls in. 100%. Oh.
To send a voicemail, press.
Hello, you're live with the Dago.
Hey, Dago, this is Derek.
What's up, buddy? Thanks for calling in.
Hey, you're welcome. My phone's almost going to die, so I figured I'd give you a call in and give you my thoughts on a few things. I'm not too familiar with Summer Wells, but it's awfully strange. It's weird.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Most definitely.
I got my volume down on my laptop so I don't hear myself. I hate hearing myself on anything.
I understand. Hold on 1 second, Derek. Okay, guys. So on Wonderland, you guys said 89% yes and 10% no. Not too bad, guys. So we got that one on that. And then the other one, and I'll hurry up and type this one in here real quick, was Jonestown, and then we'll get the answer from that one. Go ahead, Derek, with what you got to say, brother.
Oh, no, it's just weird, Summer Wells. I mean, it's like I'm going to look into the case because you got me. Let me go here. You guys got me interested in the Summer Wells case. It's weird.
It's a rough one. It is definitely anything that involves a child. Mama Bear can tell we have the same thought patterns with that too. anything that involves children, it really, really gets me irked, and it really gets me rolling in it. I really want to do something about it, and there's not much that any of us can do where we're at. So this is the best way to do it. And, you know, keeping the name of the case out there and what's going on with it. I mean, that's the best way we can help on it. And with you guys all in here, you guys are learning about it. In turn, you can put it out there too, and it keeps them from going cold. So that's why we do what we do. As I always say, that we're the voice for the voiceless. And
exactly. And you see, I've watched all my years. I've watched a lot of documentaries on serial killers, and there's one common denominator. People always focus on the serial killers. They never focus on the victims.
that's true. Very true. That's a good point, sir.
And it's sad, you know. I mean, these victims died at the hands of maniacs, sick people.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, look at Hitler. Everybody wants to focus on Hitler, not the 6 million people plus he killed.
Yeah, I agree.
You know?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's upsetting, you know, and so yeah, it's I'm interested in the Summer Wells case.
Check it out. Well, we're gonna be, like I said, if nothing else, you'll learn it through here, because we're gonna cover it once again. It'll be my third time, I think, going over it from beginning to right now. Every detail I can find to pull out, and I have a few people in. My moderators are very Miss Molly. She's just as passionate as I am. Quite a few of them, and we'll have every bit of information we can have on it. We're gonna go over it with a fine-tooth comb, piece by piece by piece, and see if there's anything that could have been missed, anything that has been brought out that's a bit more recent that would make anything old make sense. So we're gonna go through it just like it just happened all over again. So
well, you got to sub for life, but I just sub to the Wandering Orphan as well. So
well, I appreciate that, brother, and I'm sure she does as well. Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome, and I'm also going to get in touch with my local RCMP detachment and see if I can go undercover in courts for them and try to shut them down, because there's some courts in Canada here that desperately need to be shut down. Absolutely.
I agree. That's a great idea, actually. Just be careful with what you're doing, though. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. All right, brother. I thought I'd call in and let you all hear my voice, and I look forward to calling in again.
That sounds great, Derek. Anytime, you're more than welcome to. I'd love to hear from you guys, and I love to hear your guys' opinions and theories. That's what this is all about in here, guys, is everybody being able to voice their opinions, being able to voice their theories, what their thoughts are on this, and we put that together with everybody else's, and we kind of mix it up into a milkshake and call it the think tank and make things come out of that if we can. And if we have the ability to possibly help in some of these cases, there it is. So you're welcome to call in anytime, bro.
I keep vampire hours, so I do my best research for a lot of things I do at night when it's dark and it's less noisy. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Derek. Well, thanks again, brother, and I hope to hear from you again soon. And thank you for supporting the channel like you do and being here all the time. We appreciate you, sir.
You're welcome. I'll be in chat, brother, so you ain't getting rid of me that fast.
All right, bro. Appreciate you.
Okay, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. Have a good one.
You too, my man.
All right. Bye-bye. Nice. Thank you for calling, Derek. I appreciate that so very much. So very much. I appreciate all you guys like that too. And anyone, please feel free to call in at any time. Like I said, I know you guys can type it in here. I like hearing your guys' voices, and I like hearing your theories and your opinions on different things and what you guys feel about things. And you have that right to voice that. And that's what this channel is all about. And I want you guys to be able to voice how you feel about these things. And that's important, guys, because I know at one point in my life, before I started doing this, I had feelings and opinions and thoughts about some of these cases that I've been watching these forever. And I would tell myself, I would get mad, and I needed to vent this to somebody. I needed somebody to hear my voice about this, and doing being able to call in and talk about these things on these shows, I think is a very, very, very important thing, guys, because it really does help. So, once again, Derek, Miss Nikki, I appreciate you both for calling in tonight. That's an awesome, awesome thing, guys. So thank you both so very much. So as I said, guys, at this point, we got 89% on the Wonderland murders, and that one looks pretty good so far. So we'll see what happens with this next one here. And again, if Jonestown doesn't make it, guys, we're going to still cover it eventually down the road. So I'm glad to see you got back, Pookie. Good deal. Again, guys, all of you guys, I see a few people dropping off. For those of you that are, thank you so much for being here tonight. I do appreciate you guys. I love each and every one of you guys for what you do for the channel, for what you do for me, and for our team. And again, I got to thank my moderators. Thank you so very much. I love you guys as well. You do so much for this channel and for me that I can never repay you. And the investigative team that I have put together is an amazing group of people. Molly, Mama Bear, Miss Nikki does a lot of work. Pookie, Miss Willow, Pamela overseas, Drift overseas. Over in UK, they do things. I got, she hasn't been around as much, but Miss Lisa in Australia. David's in Australia. He helps out too. I mean, I have an amazing channel, guys, and I am absolutely so proud of this community in every aspect. So I want to thank each and every one of you guys once again for being who you are and for being here to support me. I appreciate that more than you guys will ever know. And that is facts, folks. Yes, just like Mama Bear said, Derek and Nikki, you guys rock. Thank you so much for calling in. And if Mama Bear could be here, she would, but she has to get that sleep, guys. But she will be here. No worries. You'll stay here tomorrow. No worry. You're welcome. Just pay me in chocolate punch. Okay. No worries, dear. All right, guys. This one's not moving, so we will. And I love you just as much, Miss April. That's a fact. And I appreciate you, Mikey, for saying that. I appreciate you as well, brother. I do what I can do for you guys. I do the very best I can, you guys. And I really care about you guys as people and as this community. I just need you guys to understand how much it's that important to me that I can bring this to you guys, that I can associate with you guys, that I can just be part of your guys' lives. That's that important to me, guys. So, all right. So Jonestown is 77% to 22%, and it does look like the Wonderland murders it is, everybody. So that's your homework, folks, for Monday night. The Wonderland murders. Check it out, everyone. The movie's actually pretty decent. Okay, I enjoyed it, to be honest with you. And the story behind it is even more interesting. Again, guys, Mr. John Holmes, he was a adult film star back in the 70s and early 80s. He was involved in the scenario. A very interesting case, to be honest with you, and it's still a loss. It's never actually been solved 100%. They say that it has, and they had this and that on it, but it's never really actually been solved, in my opinion. So you never know. Maybe somebody that watches it might see something and solve the case completely. Be interesting, wouldn't it? Absolutely, Mikey. Absolutely. 1 second here, folks. Let me see here if I can show you something real quick, just to give you guys a little tidbit. Okay. I'll give you a quick trailer to show you just a little quick piece. One moment, everyone. And if you want to check it out, the movie's called Wonderland. Check it out. Seriously. I thought the movie was good. Val Kilmer's in it. I like some of the stuff he does, so my wife loves him. I don't know what it is, but she does. anyway, sorry guys. There it is. And thank you, Red. I appreciate it. I'll clip it. I'll be all right with it. But thank you for making noticing that. But yeah, we will. Caden, get the door, Caden. I think it's going to be a good one Monday night. If you guys want to check out the movie called Wonderland, please do. And that's pretty much it as far as that goes. Again, guys, thank you so much for being here tonight. I really do appreciate you guys. More than you know. Yes, Lisa Kudrow's in it. There's quite a few people in it. Val Kilmer. I can't remember the rest of the other guys' names that were in it, but they're in it. So I don't know if anybody has anything else for me. If you do, let me have it, folks. Oh, got you. I can just clip it out of that anyway, and some picked up. Right. I appreciate that, though. I really do, bro. Thank you for looking out for me. Very much appreciate it. Okay. All right, everyone. Well, I guess that's going to do it for this evening. And I want to thank you all once again for joining me so very much. I love each and every one of you guys. I will be live again tomorrow between 12 and 12:30, as always. I believe with Mama Bear. And we're going to do our typical stuff, cover some stuff, and give you guys some stories. So be here or be square. Please, please. And I'm looking forward to that, as always. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your night, guys. Don't forget to love yourselves and to love each other. Do not change anything about yourselves because you guys are the amazing, amazing, beautiful people. Again, I appreciate everybody that supports this channel. Anybody that may have donated to the channel, I do appreciate you so very much. More than you know, that keeps the bills paid, the internet running, and StreamYard's up so that I can be here with you all on a regular basis. I do appreciate the help with that, guys, more than you know. So, guys, have an amazing night. Moderators, great job. As always, I love you all to death. Guys, I will see you tomorrow. Have a great one, folks. Take care. Bye-bye.